Questions 1 through 10 on the 2012 Grade 12 AMC 12A. A bug crawls along a number line starting at -2 and crawls to -6, then turns around and crawls to 5. How many units does the bug crawl altogether? So let's draw a line, and then we are starting at -2, approximately there. Then we go to -6, and then we go all the way to +5. So initial journey is from there to there, and that's obviously 4 units if you're going from -2 to -6. Then he turns around and goes all the way to 5. So from -6 to 0 is 6 units, and then 0 to 5 is an additional 5 units, so that's 11 units. So he went 4 units in that direction, 11 units in that direction, for a total of 15 units. 11 plus 4. So number 1, the answer is E. Cagney can frost a cupcake every 20 seconds, and Lacey can frost a cupcake every 30 seconds. Working together, how many cupcakes can they frost in 5 minutes? So Cagney, 20 seconds, right? So 3 cupcakes per minute. Lacey is 30 seconds for 1, so 2 cupcakes per minute. So together, they can frost 5 cupcakes every minute. And they want you to figure out in 5 minutes, so multiply that by 5 minutes. And you get 5 times 5, which is 25 cupcakes. And number 2, therefore the answer is D. A box 2 by 3 by 5 can hold 40 grams of clay. A second box with twice the height, 3 times the width, and the same length as the first box can hold n grams of clay. What is n? Well, this is a comparison question, so we've got 2 times 3 times 5 over 40 grams of clay is equivalent to now twice the height, so instead of 2, it's 2 times 2. Instead of 3, it's 3 times the width, so it's 3 times 3. And the length is the same, so that's just 5. And that's all over n. So they want you to figure out n. So this is basically a simple comparison question. We can eliminate the 2's, the 3's, like that, and the 5's. So the only thing left on this side is 1 over 40, and on this side would be 2 times 3, which is 6 over n. Cross multiply, and you get n is equal to 6 times 40, which is 240. So therefore, number 3, the answer is D. In a bag of marbles, 3/5 of the marbles are blue and the rest are red. If the number of red marbles is doubled and the number of blue marbles stays the same, what fraction of the marbles will be red? Well, initially, let's say you have 5 marbles, and 3 of them are blue, and the other 2 are red, right? And then what they're saying is that they're doubling the number of red marbles. So instead of 2, it becomes 4. And the number of blue marbles stays the same, which is 3. And now they're saying what fraction of the marbles are red. Well, now you have 4 plus 3, which is 7 marbles. And of those, 4 are red. So 4 over 7 is the answer. So number 4, the answer is C. A fruit salad contains blueberries, raspberries, grapes, and cherries. The fruit salad has a total of 280 pieces of fruit. There are twice as many raspberries as blueberries, 3 times as many grapes as cherries, and 4 times as many cherries as raspberries. How many cherries are there in the fruit salad? So our relationships are as follows. R is equal to 2B, raspberries and blueberries. And then G is equal to 3C, grapes and cherries. And then C is equal to 4R, cherries and raspberries. And we also know that the total number is 280. So B plus R plus G plus C for blueberries, raspberries, grapes, and cherries is 280. And then we just have to make some simple substitutions here. So C remains as it is because that's what we have to figure out. G, I can put 3C, right, from here. R, I can put C over 4 from this guy. And B takes a little bit of work here, not too much. From this one, we know that r is equal to 2b, but r is equal to c over 4. So therefore b is equal to c over 8. And that's it. So it's a basic question adding fractions. Multiply through by 8, get rid of the fraction. You get c plus 2c plus 24c plus 8c, and 8 times 280 on this side. And this side becomes, let's see here, 10, 34, 35. C is equal to 280 times 8. C, 280 divided by 35 is 2 times 4, 8. And therefore, C is equal to 64. 64 cherries. So number 5, the answer is D. The sums of 3 whole numbers taken in pairs is 12, 17, and 19. What is the middle number? So if you have 3 numbers, let's say A, B, and C, the sums in pairs, A plus B is the first pair, is 12. The second pair, B plus C, is equal to 17. And the third pair, A plus C, is 19. So let's add this up. If you add all of 3, you get 2A plus 2B plus 2C is equal to 12 plus 17 plus 19, which is 48. And then if you divide through by 2, you get A plus B plus C is equal to 24. And then now I can easily solve for each. A plus B plus C. Well, B plus C is 17. So that allows me to quickly solve for A. A is going to be 7. Using the same A plus B plus C, A plus B plus C is 24, but A plus B is 12, so I can just put 12 here. And then therefore C is 12. And then finally I can use the exact same equation to solve for B, or you can just put C equals 12 into here. And if you do, you get basically that B plus 12 is equal to 17, and therefore B is 5. So B is 5, A is 7, and C is 12. Now the middle number obviously would be the one in the middle if you arranged these numbers from smallest to largest, like that. And therefore the middle number is 7. So number 6, the answer is D. Mary divides a circle into 12 sectors. The central angles of these sectors, measured in degrees, are all integers, and they form an arithmetic sequence. What is the degree measure of the smallest possible sector angle? So we have some circle, right? And we're dividing it into different angles. So here's 1, and here's 2, and here's 3, and here's 4, and so on, right? They're getting bigger. And all of them, if you label them, it'll be A plus D, A plus 2D, A plus 3D, A plus 4D, and so on. You get the idea. It's an arithmetic sequence, and that was what an arithmetic sequence looks like. A plus D, A plus 2D, and so on. But there's 12 of them. So we've got A plus D plus A plus 2D all the way up until A plus 11D. That's the 12th angle. And all of these angles, when you add them up, as you know, would equal 360, right? That's the sum of all the angles if you were to draw them in a circle like this. So we have to work with this. We're only given one equation. We got 2 variables, so obviously there's going to be some casework, guesswork. Adding this up, you get 12A, and then you're adding all the numbers from 1 to 11, so it's 11 times 12 divided by 2D is 360, right? Divide through by 12, and you get A plus 5.5D is equal to 30. So now, keep in mind they have to be integers. So if D is 1, obviously you're not going to get an integer. But what about if D is 2? If D is 2, you get A plus 2 times 5.5, which is 11, plus is equal to 30. And therefore A would be 19. That is indeed an integer. But interestingly, it's not one of the answer choices. Okay, keep going. If d equals 3, I'm not going to get an integer value for a. But what about d equals 4? That would mean a plus 4 times 5.5, 222, is equal to 30, and therefore a is 8. And that is definitely one of the answer choices. So number 7, the answer is C. An iterative average of the numbers 1 to 5 is computed in the following way. Arrange the 5 numbers in some order. Find the mean of the first 2 numbers, then find the mean of that with the third number, then the mean of that with the fourth number, and finally, the mean of that with the fifth number. What is the difference between the largest and smallest possible values that can be obtained using this procedure? So, the largest is obtained when they are arranged like this, and the smallest is obtained when they're arranged like this. Now that may not be obvious to a lot of you, and I do appreciate that that is not obvious, but I think a lot of it just has to do with understanding that extreme case scenarios are going to be either this way or this way. Any other way of arranging them will give you a number sort of in the middle somewhere. So let's go through this process based entirely on how they described it in the question. You take the first 2, 1 plus 2, take the average, so that would be 3 over 2, which is 1.5. Then take that with the next number, add them, take the average, so that would be 4.5 divided by 2, which is 2.25. Then take that number and the next number, add them and divide by 2, and it would be 6.25 divided by 2, which is 3.125. and 5, and then finally add those two and divide by 2. 8.125 divided by 2 is 4.0625. Now we're doing the exact same thing, but in a different order here. 5 plus 4 divided by 2 is 4.5. 4.5 plus 3 divided by 2 would be 3.75. 3.75 plus 2 is 5.75. Divided by 2 is 2.875. And then finally, 2.875 plus 1 divided by 2 is 1.9375. And what they want is the difference between the largest and the smallest possible value. So the largest is this is the smallest, the difference is subtracting them, and when you do subtract those two numbers, you get 2.125. And of the answer choices, the one that is equivalent is C, 17 over 8. A leap year is a year is a leap year if and only if the year number is divisible by 400 or is divisible by 4 but not by 100, such as 2012. The 200th anniversary of the birth of novelist Charles Dickens was celebrated on February 7th, 2012, a Tuesday. On what day of the week was Dickens born? So 1812, 1816, and so on, all the way up until 2012. But he was born on February 7th, and leap years happen like at the end of February, right? February 29th. So we don't actually need to worry about 2012, but we do need to look at all the years in this range. Except the year 1900, right? Because that's the exception. But not by 100. So 1900 doesn't qualify as a leap year because it's divisible by 100. So it's divisible by 4 and also divisible by 100. So that's why it doesn't qualify. So we have to figure out how many of these leap years are there, first of all. Well, it's 2008 minus 1808 divided by 4. And then we have to subtract 1 because of this 1900. So that is basically, what is that, 200 over 4, which is 50, minus 1, which is, of course, 49. So there's 49 leap years. So that means there's 49 extra days from in this 200-year range. So the number of days in 200 years is 365 times 200. But then you have to add an additional 49 days because of all those leap years. And then you have to divide by 7 and see what is the remainder. And once you get the remainder, we can then adjust what day of the week he was born and way back in 1812. So if you do this, this becomes 10,0,435 with a remainder of 4. So if you were to draw a calendar, say Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, he was born on, he celebrated his 200th anniversary on a Tuesday. So he was born, obviously, 4 days before that, because if it was an exact multiple of 7 with no remainder, it would just be another Tuesday. You'd just be going back 7 days every time. But it doesn't work out like that. It's actually this number with a remainder of 4. So you're going to count backwards 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the day that he was actually born on, way back in 1812. So number 9, the answer is Friday, which is choice A. A triangle has an area of 30, one side of length 10, and the median to that side has a length of 9. Let theta be the acute angle formed by that side, and the median, what is sine theta? Let's draw a triangle, and it doesn't really have to be that accurate. And here we go. And then we're going to draw a median. Median basically meaning it cuts that side into equal segments. And let's label this now. They're saying that median is equal to 9, and this side is 10. And if it cut it into equal segments, those segments are 5 and 5. And they're saying that theta is the acute angle, so this is theta right here. And therefore this angle must be 180 minus theta. And the only other piece of information is that the area of the triangle is 30. Well, I hope you remember there's a rule that I can refresh your memory on, just in case you didn't remember, and I'm sure that you do, that if you have two sides, let's say A, B, and then you have an angle, the area of that triangle is going to be 1/2 A times B sine theta. All right? So you're going to use the same principle here. First, our area is 30, and that's going to be the area of this triangle plus the area of that triangle. So on the first one, using this rule, it's 1/2 5 times 9 times sine theta. And then you have to add to that the area of that triangle, and that one, using the exact same rule, would be 1/2 5 times 9 times the sine of 180 minus theta. And if you remember, very quickly, I'll draw that sine graph. You remember that sine graph where this is 180 degrees. The sine of 180 minus pi is equal to the sine of pi, or sine of theta. I don't know why I said pi. So you can see that on the graph, and some of you even remember that identity. Like if you take any point here and then subtracted it from 180, it would have the exact same value on the y-axis. So this is the same as sine theta. And that's a very helpful identity. Even if you didn't remember it, you can just draw the sine graph and sort of, figure that out. Because on these contests, you're not allowed to use a calculator. So that's why I encourage you to just draw the graph. So moving ahead with this question, since that's sine theta, this just becomes 5 times 9 times sine theta. And that's it. And now to isolate for sine theta, you would divide through. 5 times 9 is 45, so it just becomes 30 over 45. And of course, in lowest terms, that's 2 over 3. So number 10, the answer is D.